Imagine this. You're standing in a room full of people, talking, laughing, moving, and yet one person's eyes keep returning to you. You haven't spoken, you haven't touched, but there's a gravitational pull forming. Slow, electric, irrational. They don't know why. They just know they need to know you, need to hear you, need to have you. Now ask yourself, what if you could create that feeling on command? Not just attraction, not simple interest, but obsession. The kind of obsession that lives in the mind like a haunting melody, uninvited, unstoppable, unforgettable. But here's the paradox. In a world drunk on freedom and individuality, we are secretly starved for devotion. We scroll through faces, hearts, and bodies, yet feel lonelier with each swipe. We claim to crave independence, but underneath it all, we long to be consumed, and to consume entirely. So the great question isn't just, how do you make someone fall for you? That's amateur alchemy. The real question, the darker one, the one no one dares to ask aloud is, how do you make someone need you? Like oxygen, like madness, like destiny. But be warned, this is no child's game of tips and tricks. This is a journey into the psyche, the shadows, the soul. Because obsession isn't born from charm, it's born from something far more dangerous. And once you understand that, everything changes. Why is it that we crave obsession, both to feel it and to inspire it, yet we're terrified to admit it? Carl Jung once wrote that people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. And herein lies the root. Our desire to be obsessed over is not about love. It's about mirroring, the desperate attempt to see ourselves through the burning eyes of another, and finally believe we exist. From childhood, we're taught to seek validation outside of ourselves. A good child is praised, a quiet student is rewarded, a beautiful person is worshipped. Slowly, invisibly, the idea forms. You are what others feel about you. If no one notices you, desires you, remembers you, do you even matter? Arthur Schopenhauer called love a delusion of the will of the species, a biological hallucination designed to propagate life. But obsession is different. Obsession bypasses logic. It reaches into the unconscious. It seduces the archetypal self, not the body, not the mind, but the myth of the person. And this is where the real danger lives. We don't want someone to love who we are. We want someone to worship the symbol of who we pretend to be. A curated illusion, a walking ideal, a fantasy. Think about it. How often do you craft your image? Not for authenticity, but to control perception. The way you laugh, pause, post, text. You don't show them the truth. You show them what will make them feel something. But here's the twist. What if they fall in love with the illusion? Then you're not being loved. Your mask is. And to maintain that love, you must never take it off. That's the trap. Jean-Paul Sartre called this bad faith, living as a performance, denying your freedom by acting a role. Most people don't want to be truly seen, they want to be adored, which is a form of hiding, not revealing. And yet, deep down, you still ache for someone who would be obsessed with not your mask, but your madness, not your smile, but your silence, not your beauty, but your brokenness. So why is that kind of obsession so rare? Because obsession requires depth. And depth terrifies the modern world. We're taught to be surface level, bright, accessible, easily consumed. But what is easily consumed is quickly forgotten. Obsession, real obsession, is born when someone senses depth they cannot reach. A mystery they'll never solve. A mirror that shows them more of themselves than they're ready to see. So if you want to awaken that hunger in another, you must first awaken it in yourself. But the cost of that awakening is far higher than most are willing to pay, and the consequences, silent, hidden, are already shaping your life in ways you cannot see. You think you're in control. You think you choose who you love, who you desire, who you obsess over. But you're wrong. You were programmed, subtly, systematically, from the moment your mind began to form. Consider this: your deepest desires were shaped by people who never knew your name. Marketers, filmmakers, influencers, even philosophers, all inserting archetypes into your psyche: the manic pixie dream girl, the brooding loner, the perfect partner who just gets you. You never created these ideals, you absorbed them, and now, without realizing it, you measure every interaction against those myths. You don't fall in love with people, you fall in love with what they represent: a savior, a prize, a mirror, a cure. Cognitive biases do the rest. Confirmation bias ensures that every sign is a signal. Dopamine loops lock your brain into craving their next word: glance, like. The scarcity principle tells you that the more unavailable someone is, the more valuable they must be. You are not in love. You're in a neurological trap. And worse, you're setting that same trap for others. Every selfie you post, every moment you selectively share, it's bait. You don't show reality. You show the version of you that will most likely haunt someone's mind, the version that leaves just enough unsaid to spark the fire of fantasy. You want to be remembered, missed, needed. But here's the cost. When you become someone's obsession, you inherit their instability, their projections, their wounds. They don't see you clearly. They see what they lack. And once you fail to fill that void, the obsession turns into resentment, into possession, into ruin. Worse still, you begin to measure your worth by the intensity of someone else's hunger. If they stop obsessing, you feel invisible, unwanted, forgotten. That's the sickness. Obsession feels like power, but it's dependence wearing a seductive mask. Society sells obsession as the highest form of love. I can't live without you. You complete me. But this is not love. This is annihilation disguised as romance. Two incomplete souls trying to consume each other, hoping the union will make them whole. Nietzsche warned us, whoever fights monsters should see to it that he does not become a monster. The same is true here. Play with obsession long enough, and you become the very thing you once feared, addicted to being needed, and terrified of being known. But what if there's another path? What if obsession could be transformed, not into destruction, but into awakening? That's where the rebellion begins. The world taught you to seduce with perfection, but the ones who leave their mark, who linger in dreams and scars, don't offer perfection. They offer depth, and depth, by its very nature, is unsettling. You want someone to be obsessed with you? Stop trying to be loved. Start being unforgettable, not by being loud, not by being pretty, by being real, unapologetically, terrifyingly real. This is the rebellion, to embrace your own darkness before anyone else can exploit it, to know your hunger before anyone else defines it, to seduce not by pleasing, but by revealing. Jung called it shadow work, the conscious confrontation with your repressed self, the rage you hide, the need you deny, the wildness you cage. You think hiding your chaos makes you lovable? Number. It makes you forgettable, because here's the secret. People don't become obsessed with what they understand. They become obsessed with what haunts them, and nothing haunts more than truth wrapped in mystery. Think of the ones who've stayed in your memory, who live in your mind like a ghost. It wasn't because they said everything right. It was because they disrupted something inside you. They made you question who you were. They awakened parts you didn't know you had. That's obsession, not attraction, disruption. So how do you become that kind of force? By living in contradiction. Be tender and ruthless. Be warm but detached. Be open but unfathomable. This isn't about playing games. It's about embodying polarity. Masculine and feminine, order and chaos, light and shadow. That tension, that's what draws people in. They feel something ancient in your presence. something sacred, something dangerous. They don't just want you, they want the revelation you offer. And when you stop performing, something strange happens. You become magnetic. Not to everyone, but to the ones who are awake enough to notice. The ones who sense your depth and feel the ache to dive into it, even if it drowns them. Viktor Frankl once said, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." The same applies here. When you know your inner why, your raw truth, you stop seeking to be adored and start creating gravity. That's the rebellion. To stop begging for attention and start becoming the question no one can answer. To walk like you carry secrets. To speak like your words could open a door in someone's soul. This isn't manipulation. It's mastery. Not of others, but of yourself. Because when you truly own who you are, obsession becomes inevitable, and what comes next changes everything. At the heart of it all, beneath the need for attention, beneath the games, beneath the seductive glances and carefully crafted personas, lies something far more primitive, more sacred. A yearning not to be desired, but to be seen, to be known, not in pieces, not in projections, but in full, messy, complex, divine. The ultimate truth is this: the obsession you seek from others is a reflection of the obsession you lack with your own soul. You cannot make someone crave you deeply if you are afraid to sit with yourself in silence. If you cannot witness your own chaos without flinching, how can you expect another to fall into it willingly? You were not born to be consumed. You were born to awaken. And here's the deepest shift. Obsession is not about control. It's not about seduction. It's about invocation. You become unforgettable, not by chaining hearts, but by opening them. Not by being everything someone ever wanted, but by being what they never knew they needed. You do this by becoming a mirror, one that reflects not their fantasies, but their forgotten truths. You want someone to lose sleep over you? Show them the part of themselves they abandoned, the courage they buried, the hunger they silenced. Walk into their life not as a desire, but as a reckoning. This is the power no one talks about, the sacred madness of self-possession. When you stop needing to be chosen and instead choose yourself so completely that others feel exposed just by being near you. Because obsession is not something you cause in others, it's something you become, a frequency, a force, a presence. When you live from your truth, your very existence becomes a reminder of everything they've forgotten in themselves, and they will either run or drown. But do not chase those who run. The right ones, the rare ones, will sense it, and they will stay, not because you manipulated them, but because you freed them. And so the final paradox reveals itself. You make someone obsessed with you not by making them need you, but by making them remember who they are in your presence. And once you understand this, you will stop trying to be loved. You will stop trying to be wanted. You will become something far more powerful. You will become unforgettable. So the next time you walk into a room, carry this truth in your chest like fire. You are not here to be desired. You are here to awaken souls, and the ones who are ready will never forget you. Not in this life, not in the next.